Another video of our daily LeetCode, and today we will be doing the problem top k frequent elements. This is also a pretty common question in interviews, and let's get started. Let's read the description. Given an integer array nums and an integer k, return the k most frequent elements. You may return the answer in any order. Okay, so what does this mean? And if we take a look at example 1, you can see that there's 3 1s and 2 2s and 1 3. And since k is 2, the two most frequent elements in nums is 1 and 2, right? Because there's 3 1s, 2 2s, and 1 3. And there's also another example that shows that there's only one element in it, so the most frequent one in this case would just be 1, right? And yeah, so let's get over to the solution. And basically what we can do here is we can actually use a bucket and a hash map at the same time to solve this problem. So first things first, we're going to use a hash map to go through the list, right? So in this case, example 1, you go through 1 1 1 2 2 and 3, and we will assign each value to the number of occurrences. So let's go ahead and do that. So it's going to be a hash map equals dictionary, right? This is how you do it in Python. And what you can do here is you can just go through I in nums, iterate through nums, and you're going to do this so hmap I is going to equal to hmap.get I and 0. I explained what this does in my previous video, but I'll do it one more time. So this is basically what's happening here is that we're referencing what I has in store for hmap, and we're adding 1 to whatever is in hmap I. However, there might be a time when hmap doesn't have this specific element inside the hash map, right? So if that happens, there might be an error. So to prevent that, there's a Python method that is installed that you can get away with by just doing .get to the hmap, all right? And then so it's going to try to call I, and if it's not there, there's going to be a default value of 0. If not, it's just going to return I. Right? Okay, so this is gonna prevent a key error, and this is super useful in situations like this. So now what we have is, let's just look through the example 1. So we're gonna have that 2 2s and 1 3, right? So as you can see here, all the keys are the I guess in a way unique number inside nums, and 3 2 and 1, which is the values, are representing how many of these elements are in the array, right? So what we can do actually here is we're going to use bucket, right? And this is basically for j in range length nums. What this is actually going to do is we're going to make a bucket like this. So it would be a list inside a list, so array inside an array. And here, like that, it's going to look like that because it's going to go through the range of the length of the array. And for each of those, we're going to create an empty array, right? So what we're going to do here, we're actually going to store these values into this array. Okay, so in this case, we will be putting in the, you see these indices here? So in this case, this would be 0, this would be 1, or hold on. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we can use this to actually, for the 5th indice, if we have an element that occurs 5 times, we're going to put that into the value. So let's say, for example, 1 corresponds to 3, right? So we're going to put 3 as 1. Does that make sense? And we're going to put 2 for 2 and 3 right here at 1. So then what we'll be able to do, we can iterate from the back of the array to see the most frequent elements, right? So these indices will represent the frequencies, and whatever is in that indice will represent the unique element. Okay, so what if there is 2 that is also 3, right? That's totally possible. So what we can do here actually is we can just append I think that was wrong. Hold on. So 1 is 3 and 2 is 2. Yeah, that should have been a 2. But now we change it, so we just append it to here. All right, and these two will be the most, if k is equal to 2 here, these two will be the answer. All right, so now we're gonna actually translate the bucket. We're gonna transfer over what we have in our hash map into our bucket. So how do we do that? Super simple. So we're gonna just go through the hash map like this. Okay, so this is gonna go through all the keys, and II is gonna be the ith key of the hash map, and we can actually assign bucket. We want the frequency to be the indices, so all you got to do here is go like this, equal to II. So this is basically going to equal to bucket of indice. Well, in this case, it would be frequency equal to unique element, right? Or not unique element, but like different types of element, right? And this will give us a bucket that has frequencies corresponding to each element. Now what do? We actually make another loop right here. So we're going to go through the bucket this time, okay? We're going to go through the bucket, and what we're going to do here is actually we don't want to just go through the buckets because we want the top kth, right? So we would go from the back of the list. So 5 would be the most frequent, 4 would be the next frequent. So we want to go from the back. So how do we do that in Python? So you want to go range length of bucket -1 -1 -1. This is just the Python syntax for going backwards, so I just recommend you memorize it. If you understand it, that's even better, but that's how you do it. And what we're going to do here now, if bucket I, so that means if there is an element inside each of these lists in these arrays for each indices. So for example, 5 wouldn't have any, so we would just skip 5. But if we do find an instance where there is content, in this case, what are we going to do? So what we're going to do here is now we're going to append. I forgot to initialize our result. So result will be 0 in the list, right? Because we want to return a list. But now what we can do is we can append whatever there is in the bucket, right? So we would need another loop. So iv in bucket I result append. Oh wait, but we might have a problem here, because what if we want the top k frequent elements. So what if it exceeds k? We don't want that happening. So we have to make an if statement here. If length of res is less than, or I guess in this case greater, or less than k, we append the kth frequent element. okay? Or whatever element you're on. See, if the length of if result is longer than gate, it wouldn't make sense, right? Because if it's asking for 2 and you give a 3, that wouldn't make sense. So we need to create an if statement here. And also, one last thing I forgot to mention, we want to make this to +1 because of an edge case where, for example, example 2, this is technically length 1, but when we have a bucket, it's going to just look like this. And this right here is just 0. So it's going to throw an index out of bounds error. So we use this to prevent that. And then we can finally return our results. So let's see if this works. Oh, hold on. For IV and bucket. So it says int object is not iterable. Oh, so this was the mistake. We would want to append this actually instead of just adding it, because like I said before, we want to have multiple, there might be multiple different elements and the same frequency, right? So let's try that again, give this a go. And there we go. Thank you for watching, everyone. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave us a like and subscribe for more content in the future.